Hi dears, now we'll start with a new chapter called Audit and Auditors, the 10th chapter, which is the last chapter for your CA Inter syllabus. Now, this chapter is very important for two reasons. Number one, it is getting covered in your 10th chapter of company law, and this is what will be again told in your auditing chapter. So, company audit. So, there also you will be able to study this. So, this is the base overview that we have. Audit and auditors will consist of appointment of auditors. Now, when you say appointment of auditors, there are two things: first auditor, subsequent auditor. But inside first auditor, you need to know that it is for two purposes. One is for government company and it is for other company. Other companies other than government company. Similarly, subsequent auditor for government company other than government company. So we need to know the differentiation. Anyways, we will take you through, because that first limb, if you are able to understand, then this chapter becomes so easy for us to complete. We are now only in the part 1 of this chapter. We will also go as a part 2 and then complete, so that it's easy for us to revise. Next, how you can remove the auditor before the expiry of term. What are the steps for removal? What resolutions? Whether central government will come into picture. Resignation of auditor. What is that he will try to do when he resigns, and any special notice has to be given. You know, ordinary notice is 21 days and special notice is 14 days. Then eligibility, qualification, disqualification. For qualification, it is not going to be too much of points, but for disqualification, there are many points, some equal to some 9-10 points. We need to be very strong, and the disqualification will be the first priority for your case law based question. So that is very important from our side. Next, remuneration. What is that you will have to do? Then powers and duties of auditors and auditing standards. If you remember accounts of companies, when I was talking about 133, connecting your 132 NFRA and accounting standards, the moment I told accounting standards, I told auditing standards under section 143. So this will cover here, and 143, that is what they will say, powers and duties of auditors and auditing standards. How they will try to have it in segment wise. What are the prohibited services? What and all a chartered accountant will not be able to do or should not do. Signing of audit reports. What's the provision? Whether he can attend general meeting, whether he can be heard at general meeting, all that, yes, it is possible. We will study. Punishments separately for company, for the officer in default, and for the auditor. What are the punishments that we have? Cost audit under section 148. That covers your whole of your for audit and auditors, which will complete your company law portion also. Now we will go one after another and make it really strong to see what is in the first part of your audit and auditors. Yes. So large business corporations are managed by directors. Yes, as simple as that. Who represents the members, who are the real owners of the company, because the shareholders, members who are in the register of the members, will be the real owners of the company. Everything they will not be able to do as a director. So members also will not be able to do, because they are the owners of the company. So members appoint, see this point, members appoint the auditor to look into the true and fair view of the financial affairs of the company. That means they will give an unbiased opinion and they will be independent in doing it. Okay, appointment of auditors. Guys, I have already told you, appointment of auditors means all these things will get covered. What and all? See, I have made it very simple so that you can quickly get a grip of what is going to be there in appointment of auditors. Appointment of auditor and audit firm, both. Term, the what will include for an auditor, how many years? For an audit firm, how many years? What is the cooling off period? That means they can take rest and they will not be appointed as an auditor or an audit firm for that particular company. Cooling off period, that means taking rest. Rotation of auditor, how there will be rotation of auditor is as simple as that, but unnecessary examples need not be done. Directly we can go inside the provision. First auditors and subsequent auditors, what did they say? Government company, other company. Subsequent auditors, government company, other company. Then casual vacancy, government company, other company. If you know these differences with the deadlines, it is going to make your job easy. But for a simple reason, board alone will not directly be involved in appointing. There will be audit committee under section 177. This committee will be formed to help the board in ensuring to find out the auditors or to find out the remuneration or recommendation to be given to board, all that has to be done. So remember, when the board comes for audit and auditors, audit committee also will come. And remember this section, section 177. This is your basics. Now we'll go inside and see what is there. Yes, appointment of auditors. Every company shall at its first annual general meeting appoint an individual or firm as an auditor. Individual separately, firm separately. Both it will get covered. You should not say individual means automatically firm will be included. Individual or firm as an auditor. It can be individual also, it can be firm also. How long it will be? They will hold office for 5 years. Remember this point, they will hold office for 5 years. First AGM till the conclusion of the 6th AGM. Guys, please understand this. For auditor, for individual, it is 5 years, and for firm, it will be 10 years. 5 plus 5, 10 years. They will say one term is equal to 5 years. Remember this really strong. One term is equal to 5 years. 2 term, that is for individual. 2 terms is for firm. So 2 terms means 10 years. Then only there will be cooling off period. Here they are talking about the auditor shall hold office first to 1 term only. Then if they want, they can do it for the 2nd term for the audit firm, not for the individuals. Individuals only 5 years. So auditor shall hold office from the conclusion of first AGM till the conclusion of the 6th AGM. Okay, I already told you, when the company is required to constitute an audit committee, that means as per 177, paid up capital, turnover, loan, borrowing, debenture, deposits, that limit will be given. Like how you studied in internal audit under section 138. If it is required to constitute, audit committee will recommend the auditor's name. If it is not required, if the company is not required to conduct an audit committee, then automatically the board itself will try to find. You don't need to study all these things. Simple way you can understand. If the audit committee has to be appointed, audit committee will recommend. If the audit committee is not required for that particular company, board itself will take the recommendation among the board of directors. See the point here. Audit committee means what he will do? That committee shall recommend the name of the individual or a firm as auditor to the board for consideration. If there is no audit committee, who will consider? Board itself will consider. As simple as that. If audit committee is there, audit committee will do. If audit committee is not there, board will do. That's all. This is what they have given it as a big chart here, not necessary beyond. But if the recommendation of audit committee is given, the board may accept or may not accept for the first time. If it is not agreeing, see the point, if the board disagrees with the recommendation of audit committee, it shall refer back the recommendation. It will say, do it again. As simple as that. Audit committee will go to the board and say, we have found an auditor, see if it is okay. If it is okay, board will take. If it is not okay, the board will say, I will give you one more chance, go and try to find out, give me another recommendation. After that also it is not done, then the board itself will try to take a decision. But the beauty is, if the board is not taking the audit committee's recommendation, in the board report, the board should say that we have not taken as per the audit committee recommendation. We only have did it our own self. So it should be very clear on it. So that's the point. See the point here. If the audit committee, I'll mark this full one. If the audit committee, after considering the reasons given by the board, decides not to consider its original recommendation, the board shall record the reasons for disagreement and send its own recommendation in the AGM. And it will all be given in the board report also. That's what you will have to remember. That's how you will try to remember. Before the appointment is made, the written consent of auditor is important. That means auditor should say, yes, I am eligible for appointment. Auditor I am talking about here is individual or firm. Okay, the group of people are audit firm, single person is individual. So the individual or the firm is eligible for appointment. It should give as a consent. It should be, certificate will be given by the auditor, and it will say, and the auditor will say, I am not disqualified for appointment. I am not disqualified means I am qualified for appointment. Non-negative term. Not disqualified means qualified. I am as per the term. See the point here. I am not disqualified. I am as per the term. I am within the limits prescribed. Whatever the information I am going to give you is true and correct. Everything it will say. Then only they will consider this particular appointment. Yes, as simple as that. Section 141 will later cover about eligibility, qualification, disqualification of auditor, everything accordingly. See, the point is now auditor only was talking about saying that to the company. The company shall inform the auditor. See the next point, communication to auditor. First point is communication by auditor to the company. This is communication to auditor by the company. The company shall inform the auditor and also files a notice in ADT1 and give it to the registrar. You will have to file it with the registrar. No, within 15 days of the meeting in which the auditor is appointed. Within 15 days, immediately, it should be given to the ROC. The beauty is appointment includes reappointment. For reappointment, separately, they did not say 15 days has to be considered. Now, NFRA rules. You remember section 132, we were talking about the NFRA rules. The NFRA rules was very clear. If it is any existing body corporate other than company governed by NFRA rules, that means who is under NFRA, who is not under NFRA. Okay, that's very important. Other than company governed by NFRA means the company that is defined under section 2 subsection 20. If you remember this, we will say a company which is incorporated under the Companies Act or any other previous company law. You remember first definition we covered in section 2 subsection 20. Anything governed by NFRA or not directly governed by the NFRA rules. Directly when it is governed means NFRA within 30 days you will have to inform the NFRA about the auditor's appointment. See the point here. First point is as per section 2 subsection 20. Second point is every body corporate other than a company as defined in section 2 subsection 20, 15 days is the time limit. Why are we taking this much time to know this point is that when it is governed by NFRA rules, other than company governed by NFRA rules means 30 days, governed by NFRA rules which is as per the section 2 subsection 20 is 15 days. Very simple. 2 points only to remember here. Other than a company governed by NFRA rules and as per the section 2 subsection 20. Very simply you can remember that only these 2 points has to be considered. Now we are done with that. For 30 days and 15 days time limit, both are NFRA 1 only, it should be covered. Okay, so what is that they are saying after this is the term of the auditor. Term of the auditor, as I already told you, individual means one term of 5 years, 5 consecutive years, 5 consecutive years, and audit firm means 2 terms of 5 consecutive years. That means first 1 term, then you can also do it for another term. So 10 years can be done. Now this term of auditor that they are talking about is not for 1-person company, small company at all. Except for that only this has to be considered. So again I am saying individual means 5 years, audit firm means 10 years. So put that as a point, write it and keep it in the notes when we cover this now itself. Okay, see the next point that I am covering. What is that they are talking about is the next is your rule 5 of the company audit rules. That means the following class of companies should be considering the term of the auditor. Which other companies can do? Unlisted public companies, if they have the paid up share capital 10 crores or more, yes, it will be taken. See the point I have given here already. So this is what you should consider. Unlisted public company 10 crores or more, and a private limited company 50 crores or more. Loan, borrowing, debenture, deposit if you have 50 crores or more. So you can remember that accordingly. These 3 points only has to be remembered. So I will freeze it for a minute. Please write this and keep for your terms of auditor. UPC means unlisted public company. PVT means private limited company. LBDD means loan, borrowing, debenture, deposit. Loan, borrowing, debenture, deposit.